Hey, welcome to American Reversion. How are you all today? Is this it? And by this, I mean yesterday's attempted assassination of President Trump, obviously. And I mean the catalyst for the start of the real fight, the real push, the final push to make America great again, right? Okay. Want a mug? Go to the website. Order as many as you want. Stonemont.us. Say it with a mug. Get it out there. Everything tastes better out of this. It tastes like freedom. So yesterday, everybody knows by now, it's all over the news. I've been watching more news today than I have in a month. And it's interesting to me because first off, the attempted assassination of an American president. Secondly, uh, because of the heated political environment, the violence that has been called for by the Democrats, and don't say that it hasn't been. It has been for years. Okay, going back to Maxine Waters. If you find somebody that's out there, supporting the whatever she said, get in their face. Whatever. They always call for violence. Steve Scalise is a great one to let you know that when the guy came to kill all the Republicans, he felt the pain of it, right? So let's don't have any of this stuff out there about, well, both sides have to cool it. Bull. There's one side that is always calling for violence, and that's the Democrats. Don't be fooled. If you're fooled by that, be fooled no more. That's simple. That's simply the case. So, I've said when people have asked, well, when is the right going to rise up? Well, the right is never going to rise up, but I think we're getting as close as we can to it happening. And I've always said a movement needs three things. First off, it needs enough people to get mad at the same time about pretty much the same things. The second thing that it needs is a leader, somebody who will stand up, who has, and it's not somebody talking on YouTube. It's somebody who has a national presence, a national recognition, a national support, who will stand up and take the slings and arrows. And then the third thing it needs is a martyr. And those are the three things that goes into any great movement that results in any real change. Well, we have seen, the American people and the world has seen in the last year, well, many of us have seen it for years, but I'd say the last year, the corruption of the U.S. government, the deep state, the Biden crime family, the Democrat Party in total, the depth of the corruption in those has been fully exposed. Well, let me say this. I don't think the depth of corruption has been fully exposed. I think there's a lot more to go. I know there's a lot more to go. So do you. But enough has been exposed to get enough people up in arms at the same time, right? So that has been served by their persecution of Trump, which was the first stage of his martyrdom. Okay. If anybody, people used to look up the FBI. They destroyed their reputation. They revealed themselves. I've been talking for 30, 40 years about how I did not have the highest opinion of the FBI, and because I worked with them. And hey, any of you guys that are watching with the FBI, I hope you're a good one. In which case, I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about plenty, and you know it. Uh, So, and when I would say that for the last 40 years, people go, oh, no, you're a horrible person. You don't know what you're talking about. The FBI, they're all that, right? No, no. It's been a long time since, I don't know if they were ever as good as their press made them out to be. They got a great lab. I will put it that they have a great laboratory. And a lot of organizations used it. A lot of agencies, relied on the FBI lab. But that's been exposed. The corruption in this country has got enough people upset, and sadly, it hasn't gotten everybody upset. Isn't that amazing? That still almost half of the country still doesn't think that there's a problem. But well, the other half who sees there's a problem needs to step up and start working on fixing that problem. The second thing is it needs a leader. Donald Trump is the leader. For everybody out there who just can't seem to see that a difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, the ones that say, well, but they're all dirty, and they're all part of the same thing, and Trump is controlled opposition and blah blah blah. Okay, you don't know what you're talking about. You are the problem, and you've clicked off by now, I'm sure. But if you guys know anybody like that, they are the problem. If someone doesn't have the ability to see the difference between the two sides at this point, they aren't smart enough to vote, to be honest. And then along with those who are actively, and many of those will say, well, I'm not going to vote because, and you've heard me beat this drum before, but I'm going to keep beating it because this disgusts me. The people that say it's all the same, I'm not going to support anybody because I don't like him. I don't like his nasty tweets. I don't like this. He was divorced. He was this. He was that. My goodness. If you can't tell the difference, yeah, okay. You know what? I could find things about you that I don't like. You could find things about me that you don't like, okay? I get that. But that's not where you make those little personal things. It's not how you make the major decisions about what's good for a country. And if you are unable to make the distinction between these two sides, you don't need to be voting, but I'll tell you what, you're part of the problem. You're a big part of the problem because you won't stand up for what's right by standing against what's the more wrong. Okay, this is it's kind of the flip of we have to vote. Why should we have to vote for the lesser of two evils? Well, if you don't vote for the lesser of two evils, you're allowing you're not standing against the greater of two evils. So congratulations for you, right? You're not standing for anything. So anyway, so we have that, and then we have the third, and a martyr. And I tell you what, if Trump wasn't a full martyr by as a result of the political persecution and the criminal persecution that has masqueraded as prosecution, yesterday did it. He got shot, and it was only an act of God that kept him from being killed. And Trump said that himself. I meant to bring the quote down here. He said it was divine providence. It was divine intervention. He gives all the credit to God. And, yeah. See the guy in back? See the guy behind you that says he's just saying that to get elected. Yeah. When I was watching today, and I watched a lot of it because I was interested in how this could happen. I'm not going to get into a lot of the details on this, but I will simply say that I have been involved in personal protection, not as a primary for a president, okay? I was part of a secondary security detail, just to let you know that I have some kind of exposure, for the Republican National Convention in 1976 for Ronald Reagan and the Muehlebach Hotel. And it was very interesting how that security apparatus is set up. And I've had some experience later as well. But I want to make it clear, never on the security detail of a president as a primary or a former president. But from my less than fully experience, what I saw in the Secret Service was unbelievable, unbelievably inexcusable. I don't know that I can fully describe my disgust in what I saw. It was, and I had somebody on the other channel that said, "Well, this is about you can't blame the people on the front line. You can't blame the people, on the ground for because I mentioned something about that. They look like a bunch of DEI hires. They really do, and they probably are. The quality of everything has gone down so much over the last 20, 30 years. This was not the Secret Service that I worked with in the 70s and 80s. But when I watched that, but anyway, I slid off on a side point. They said, well, you can't blame those guys. It's the DEI upstairs. Bull. It could be the DEI upstairs because the current head of the Secret Service, who is a woman whose name escapes me and I have no desire to remember it, said, she's got this, I think 30 by 30 plan that she wants 30% of the agents to be female by 2030. Okay, well, that's a totally discriminatory policy. It's a totally idiotic policy because it says I don't want the best. I just want to fill these spots with DEI hires so that we look good. Well, I'll tell you what. No, I'm not going to get into that. I could tell some truth that would really hurt some feelings, but that's not my purpose here to hurt feelings. Okay. But what I saw was inexcusable. It was pathetic. I would, I think that a local police department, even a smaller one, could probably have a better response than what I saw from the Secret Service on that shooting scene. Unbelievable. That shooter, if it was okay. Now I'm going to give you a caveat here. I've also been hearing all of the conspiracy theories. Okay, well, let me put it this way. If for the person who doesn't believe in conspiracies, they are conspiracy theories. To people who know that conspiracies exist, they are theories. They are things to be followed up on. They are interesting little tidbits that make you follow the evidence. And there is so much evidence out there that this is a weird deal. I mean, I would love to be on this investigation. How that 20-year-old guy who works in meal service in some old folks home. I know that's politically incorrect. Assisted living, 20 years old. You can tell this there is no manliness in this guy. There is no manliness in him at all. And he goes up and he takes it upon himself to try to kill the former president. That doesn't make any sense at all to me. That is almost a that's when if I've got my investigative team out there sitting in front of me, you never discount anything. You always follow the evidence. But my first thing is going to be say, guys, this doesn't make sense. Let's find out what the real story is. And you know what I'd have out there on the people facing me? I'd see a whole lot of nodding heads. And that's it, right? That's the truth. Everything, just about everything they did after that, after not securing the area, after allowing that kid to get up on that roof, if he was a shooter. And I've heard all the stories. I've heard there was another shooter from the crowd. I've heard that Trump took one in the vest. I don't know. Will it come out? I also don't know that. I'm sure it will come out just as effectively and as soon as all the information on the JFK assassination, right? So how he got up there, how the police ignored the guy apparently who said, hey, there's a guy going up on the roof with a rifle. How that was ignored, how that shooting position, obviously unimpaired between that position and the podium from which Trump was speaking, how that was not secured is beyond me. How the counter snipers, the Secret Service snipers, how they weren't covering that position is beyond me. How the immediate protective detail responded was beyond me. How they kept him standing up instead of getting him down behind their own bodies. He was able to stand up. I mean, it was good for him. It was a great moment for him, right? Yay! Fight, fight, fight! They're holding him up. When I saw it, I couldn't believe it. They're almost holding him up, standing up, and waiting for the next guy to take a shot. I mean, it's really what it looked like. And then what he's saying, wait, let me get my shoes. That is not how a protective detail operates. And then when they try to take him down the vehicle, it takes them forever to get down there. One female agent was down there around his waist as if she was ducking. I don't know what she was doing. Very positive. If he took one in the vest, okay, you take one. It may have been while he went down behind the podium. Who knows? Maybe he got a broken rib, a deep bruise, probably knocked the breath out of him, if that's what's happened. And I don't know if that's what happened. And none of us know yet. And we may find out and we may not. And when they were taking him to his vehicle, First off, they took him to the wrong side of the vehicle. They took him to the side of the vehicle, and it took him forever to get him inside. And here you have a guy, not who is just being shot at, but they know he's been shot. And it took them forever to get him in the vehicle. And then instead of taking him around onto the left side of the vehicle, where he would have been covered as soon as he made it past the end, they kept him out on the right side, exposed to the crowd, door open, all the time in the world. Had there been a secondary or a third shooter out there to get him, that's just unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. Now I've run personal security for things after I left the government work, and I tell you what, we were much tighter than that. So, but back away, they say they're standing. Well, we're going to get to the bottom of this. Well, you know what? Yeah, we're never going to hear about the bottom of it. We're going to hear a bunch of crap floating around on the surface that they're trying to feed us to see if we'll go for it. A couple of low-level heads may roll. The ones who are really responsible will get promoted, and things will go on as they are. Melania Trump put out a very nice response. Maybe I'll post that on the Patreon channel if you haven't read it. But the real purpose of this is this it? Is this the start? This assassination attempt is, I'm not the first one to say it. I think most of us realize it at the moment. I'm just the one that's talking about it right now. It pretty much assures his reelection. Now, since it pretty much reassures his election, the question is, can they allow him to make it to the election? Can they allow election? Can they? And I'm not one of those that says there won't be an election. Okay, and to be honest, I really get tired of those comments. So if you're going to make that comment, I don't get them too much on here. I get them on the other channel. But the occasional person will come. There won't be an election. Well, you don't know that. It's a silly thing to say. Let me give you advice on how to slightly modify that statement so that it's acceptable, and that would, I don't think there will be an election. See the difference between I don't think there will be an election and there won't be an election? Okay. That's the lesson of the day. Pro tip on communications. So can they afford to allow him to the election? Or was this, oh man, we can go down conspiracy theory with a U-turn and another U-turn and another there is no end. I was talking about that to Kelly today. I don't think I'll get into it now. I think most of you can figure those things out yourself because you all are smart. I'd be really interested to hear your theories. Let me say that, theories, because they're not conspiracy theories. They're ideas. They are theories. Here's what could happen, and then we will see what happens. Okay. So anyway, apparently he had changed his plans last night. He had postponed. He was going to go to Wisconsin tonight. This is Sunday night, I think. I know it's Sunday night, but I think he was going there to be there on Monday. Okay, and apparently last night he made a change of plans to postpone that for 2 days. But now he has changed it back. Says I'm going there. And who was it that I was hearing? It was somebody on Fox News, I think. I hear people occasionally making fun of watching Fox News. Well, who do you watch? MSNBC? CNN? You got to watch somebody, all news is not wrong. All news is not false. All news is not, most of the news on MSNBC, CNN, and most of that's fake. There's a lot of propaganda and a lot of slanting on Fox, but you do get good information there too, and then you make your decision. Okay. So anyway, it was somebody on that. And he said, hang on just a second, somebody's calling me. Okay. And somebody reminded me, he says, remember the last, was it 16 or was it 20? I forget. To where Trump wasn't supposed to appear until Thursday, when he makes his speech. But he came out the first night. So I wonder if that's what he's got planned for tomorrow. It's going to be fun to watch. If he comes out the first night, and you can just imagine how he's going to be able to use this, right? You know, if I were him, I would have his red hat on, but I would have over that "Make America Great Again." I almost said "Make America Great Again." Again. You want the mugs? Go to the website stonebot.us. But I would have a target embroidered over the top of it, right? You think that wouldn't go? Oh man, that I just might print something like that myself. We'll see. But anyway, he's going to be able to use this like I can't wait to see. Now the next question: how much time do I have here? Seems like I'm talking more than I meant to. No, I got a little time. I must be talking faster than I usually do. The next question is who's his VP? Okay, who are the guys that are out there? Rubio, Berghoff, what's his name? Vance, and Tim Scott. Boy, there were a lot of people that were saying he needs to pick a minority or a woman. Kristi Noem's name was mentioned often. I like Noem. If you look at the three that are up there, is it Berghoff? Is that his name? He's North Dakota, right? He's just slow, man. I mean, he seems like a good guy. Somebody else mentioned who's Glenn Youngkin. I don't know. He doesn't have the. He has some Bush Senior qualities about him that I'm just not real strong on him. Okay, but back to Berghoff, if that's his name, it's close. He seemed like a good guy, smart guy, a solid guy. Maybe we thought the same of Pence. But he has no dynamism about him. I don't see that he is going to be an asset to the ticket. Now, I know, and Trump has made this point, people don't vote for the vice president. Well, probably not in this case, but I'll tell you what, McCain got a lot more votes because Palin was on the ticket than if he hadn't had Palin on the ticket. So, yeah, a vice president can make a difference. I mean, they pick vice presidents. And so this is one of those things that I think that Trump is wrong in. That's why Kennedy picked Johnson. He needed the votes. Johnson was able to bring him votes that he wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And so presidents often make these considerations in selection for their vice presidents. But I don't see Berghoff, and again, if that's his name, making a big difference. I don't see he brings a positive to it. Now, Tim Scott, okay, I get it. He's black. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. He's done a good job in South Carolina. Or was it North Carolina? Excuse me, Tim, if I got you mixed up. But he doesn't have a presence. He's got this kind of, he's got the chin up and kind of smiley. Until he gets really serious, he doesn't have the serious bearing about him like a Mark Robinson would. You want a firebrand, get Mark Robinson up there. If you need a black guy, and I'm not all for that, but if you think you need a black guy, Mark Robinson's your guy and not Tim Scott. And Tim Scott's going to do a lot better job staying in the Senate where he is. So then we have another senator, Vance, J.D. Vance. He's a new senator. He's a newest senator. Somebody made it, and now he comes off, a lot of people don't like him. They think that he's kind of a Trojan horse in this. Now, he's a businessman. Okay, he knows business, so he's going to be, Trump, he understands Trump, Trump understands him. He's a fairly new senator, and somebody made the statement that he is so conservative, and you never know about this stuff, that Trump ought to pick him, and who was it that said this? I don't know. I forget. If I think about it before the end, I'll say it. Trump should pick him as assassination insurance because nobody would want him. Kind of like Joe did Kamala, for a different reason. So I don't know about Vance. And plus he has kind of a mean look about him. I mean, I like him, but with the beard and with the kind of look like that, he's not a friendly looking guy. And that's going to turn a lot of people off. It's going to turn off the suburban white women. Okay. Now we get to the last one. At least these are the names that have been posited. And, could be. Leave it to Trump to pick somebody totally different. But that's Marco Rubio. Little Marco. It's been a long time since Marco shot himself in the foot by taking that sip of water during his rebuttal of the State of the Union speech. You remember that? Oh, man. What a disaster that was. And then, running against Trump and the sexual connotations he made against Trump and their debate and Trump's constant hammering him as little Marco. And, Marco ran at the wrong time. He's one of those. He's kind of like DeSantis. He should have waited because DeSantis shot himself bad. If DeSantis hadn't run against Trump, and by that I mean it was a betrayal because Trump was the one who was responsible for getting DeSantis his governorship. And DeSantis said he wouldn't run, and he did. So he lied, and he betrayed the guy who put him into office. If he hadn't have done that, I would support him as a VP pick right now. But he did it. You can't trust him, even though I hear he's speaking at the convention. And I doubt that Trump forgives it either, although he forgives a lot, man, and he seemed to forget a lot. I'm hoping that he's not as... I hope he changes a little bit this time from last time. But anyway, so Rubio, he's matured. He's grown up. I see him as an adult now instead of a little kid, which I did before. I think everybody looked at him as kind of a boy. Remember the picture of him in the bubble party? So he was hard to take serious, even though he's always been a smart guy. He has been a smart guy. But he's matured now. He might be. Now, here's the thing, that by picking Rubio, he will pull Florida. Now, I think he's already got Florida, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But he will pull Florida, and that with DeSantis as the governor down there, DeSantis will be able to appoint Rubio's replacement. I don't know what kind of vice president Rubio would make. He's a smart guy. I think he's smarter than Pence. He's certainly smarter than Harris. So we will see. If Trump has got the guts to pick someone other than an obvious DEI appointment, and by that I mean a minority or a woman, and he might. He did it with Pence. Then I think Rubio's the one that's going to get it. If he feels led he needs a minority on it, it's going to be Tim Scott. I don't see. Now, I could be totally wrong, right? We're going to end up and they're going to pick somebody that I said was worthless. It's not the first time that Trump would disagree with me. but that would be my guess. But then I also know that with Trump, it could be somebody walking out on the stage that would just go, "What? We never saw that coming." Right? Okay. I think I better bring this to a close. So is this it? I think this is it. I think yesterday sealed it. I think that the other side knows that it's sealed unless something drastic happens, and I don't even want to mention what that drastic thing might be. Now, they may, I tell you what. Here's one of the conspiracy theories that I've heard going around, okay? I'll just share that. It's a little tidbit. This has kind of occurred to me, too. And then I found out that I wasn't the first one to think about it. Somebody already had. How disappointing that is, right? But apparently many of us thought about this. So they take another... So now, somebody... I don't even want to say it on here. But let's say that an attempt is made the other way. And that attempt is successful. And then that attempt is attributed to a retribution shooting for what happened to Trump. Boy, I tell you, that changes the game, doesn't it? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out a lot this week. And then it's going to be an interesting. How many months we got? 4? 4 months. Okay. Is this it? I think it could be. Y'all have a good day. Hey, remember, we got to work to make America great again. I love this mug. I designed it. Yep. Like I say, you can get them. Get as many as you want. We'll print as many as you need. Stonemont.us website. That's where you get them. And I'm going to be designing a few more because I love saying it with a mug. Because, everybody loves at your office, giving them to friends and things like this. People love them. You all have a good day. Remember that America needs a reversion. It needs you to be a part of it. And tell that guy behind you who says that voting doesn't matter that he's part of the problem. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.